Hello students, today we are going to start a new subject in your nursing. So the subject is about where we are living. So the place where we are living, about that place we are going to study in this subject. So where you are living, so that place, that is our society. We all, the individuals are the part of our society. So we are going to learn about our society. So that is your sociology. So today we are going to start our sociology subject. So this is your sociology. You can see in this image. So it is written sociology. So different individuals you can see in this. So about this human behavior we are going to learn in this sociology, how they are interacting with each other, that we are going to learn in this subject. So that you can see the events, what is taking place, the occurrence of the particular events which is taking place in individual's life. About that events also we are going to learn. So that is all about your sociology, what you are going to learn in this subject. So this is your SOCIOLOGY. So that is your subject in the nursing, that is your sociology. So that will start today. Let's start with the introduction, that what exactly the sociology is. So if we talk about the sociology, you can see the word sociology. Whenever we are starting something to learn, it is important or it is necessary to learn the meaning of that particular word. So here we have that one term, or we can say one word, that is your sociology. If we are going to divide these two words, then the one word we are getting, that is our societas, that is your Latin word, and the another word, that is your logos. So that is your Greek word. From this two root word, this sociology word has come, and in the development of the sociology word or the term, the Auguste Comte, a French philosopher, has contributed. So that's why they are called as the father of sociology. So this word sociology was coined by Auguste Comte, a French philosopher, in 1839. That means from 1839, we all are aware about this word, that is sociology. The individuals or a public get to know that is what is sociology. And that sociology word was coined by this Auguste Comte. So that's why he is called as a father of sociology, because he is the one who has developed or who has coined or who has found this word, and they have started using this word, that is sociology. So that's why this Auguste Comte is called as the father of sociology. So as we have seen that this sociology word has came into the action or in use, so that was with the help of this two word. If we are going to separate this socio and logy, that means logo and socio. So the Latin word societas, that means the society. So that is the meaning of this word, societas, the Latin word. From there we got this word, that is our society, and the another Greek word, that is your logo. So that is the Greek word from what we got the meaning, that is study. That means if we gather these two words, the fusion of these two words will lead to the study of society, or we can say science of society. So when we are going to study the society where we are living, the place where actually we are, so that is called as your society. And when we are learning something about society, that all the things will come under this sociology. Further we'll understand the definition of this sociology. Let's see. When we talk about the definition, different sociologists has given the different definitions. I have taken two definitions from two different sociologists, which I found the easiest, which can you remember easily. So the first one, the first definition, the sociologist H.P. Fairchild has given this definition. According to H.P. Fairchild, study of relationship between man and his environment. So when we are studying a relationship between the man, the one side we have, that is our man, and the another side is your environment where actually we are living. So when we are learning the relationship what the relationship man is having with their surrounding environment. So that study will call as the sociology according to H.P. Fairchild, a relationship between man and his environment. In his environment, in the sense of the climate we have, the geographical area we have, where we are living. Apart from that, in our environment, we have the other individuals as well, those who are living with us, the different relationships we have. So the study of the man and the particular surrounding environment. So that is called as your sociology. So that definition has been given by this H.P. Fairchild. The another definition of sociology, which is given by M. Ginsberg. According to M. Ginsberg, the study of human interaction. That means when one individual is trying to interact with another individual, they are trying to talk with another individual. That process is called as the interaction. For an example, right now with the help of this lecture, I am interacting with you. So that process is called as interaction. I am able to connect with you. So that is the interaction. Somehow I am doing this communication. So that is called as interaction. So the study of human interactions and interrelations. That means the relationships between two or other individuals. So that is your interrelations, their conditions and consequences. That means in which conditions we have this interaction or relationships. So that is the condition where we are living. Ultimately we can say the environment or surrounding places, geographical places. So that is the conditions and the consequences. As a result of that interaction or as a result of that relationships, what consequences we are facing, whether it is good, whether it is bad. So that all the consequences, when we are learning about all these things, at that time that will called as a sociology. As we have seen, the sociology, that means study of the society. So society is made up of us only. The society is made up of different types of individual only. Those who are living in that society, those who have formulated, those who are part of that particular society. So the people, that surrounding environment, the conditions in which they are living, that might be the family members, the interaction what they are doing with other members or other people. So we are going to study all these things. So that is called as your sociology. So that has been said by the M. Ginsberg. So these two are the definitions as per two different sociologists. The definition of sociology. So that definition is clear now. Let's see the another thing, that is scope of sociology. That means the area of sociology. Scope in the sense of area where we are going to learn or where we are going to implement the study of sociology or the science of society. So that area, or we can say the boundary or the limitations what we have, in what conditions we are studying the sociology. So that is called as your scope of sociology, the area we can say. So when we talk about the sociology, it does not have any specific boundaries. The starting point or the end point, exactly we cannot identify that, because the society, that means it is a universal, it is made up of the individuals, and wherever you will go, you are going to find some individuals or some human beings. So the boundary, the specific starting point and the end point, we cannot identify when we talk about the scope of sociology. But some of the sociologists has discussed about some scope of sociology that we are going to start. So as per some sociologists, mainly two thought of school, that means two areas. For an example, the one group we have, those who are believing in one specific idea or thing. So they have gathered to study or to know about this sociology. So that is one group we have, that is one group is your formalistic school or a specialistic school. The another group also, and they have also started study or research in this sociology subject. So that this is how we have this two words and two groups, and this two groups of sociologists has identified this sociology, the scope of this sociology. So according to that, both the group, the sociology, the idea of sociology is different. The first group was headed by the Simmels who is the sociologist. So that sociologist, the Simmels, has had it, and all the sociologists has gathered over there to study about this school of this specialistic, or we can say formalistic school. So specialistic, that means specific things, the single small or a specific things we are learning about the individuals or the society. So that is called as your specialistic, or we can say the formalistic school. So all the sociologists were having that same opinion about this society, and they have gathered at one place, and they have started study, and they have identified some areas of the society or some scope for the sociology. So that is called as your specialistic or formalistic school. Formalistic, as I said you, the very specific thing, very formal thing with some rules and regulations, or a very small things. So that is the micro. So all the situations they have studied particularly in one area. That means the singlest, smallest thing they have studied separately. So that's why that is called as a specialistic school. Compared to the specialistic, the another thing we have, let's see. So that is the another thing. The another thing or another school we have, or another group of sociologists we have, that is your synthetic school. Synthetic, that means they have studied the society as a whole, not as a specific part of that society. They didn't study the specific part, but they have studied this sociology. They have included this society as a whole. They haven't divided that small things. They look as a whole situation or as a whole scenario to this society. So that's why it is called as your synthetic school. So this is the group of sociologists who have studied, or those who have gathered for this study of the society as a whole. So that is your synthetic school. So this is how we have this two division of our scope of sociology. Let's see this one by one. So the very first one we have, that is our specialistic or formalistic school. So as we have discussed specialistic, the specific things we are going to learn about this society. So that is your specialistic or formalistic school. According to this, all the sociologists, what they have said. So the first one we have, that is our Simmels view. What is the view of this sociologist? All the sociologists has given their different views. So that it is. The another sociologist is your Smalls, then Verkandens, then Max Weber's, von West's view, Tony's view, and some criticisms also we have in this formalistic school, or we can say specialistic school. Let's learn this one by one. The first sociologist was what we have, that is Simmels' view. According to Simmels, he has classifies, analyzes, and delimits the forms of social relationships. So the Simmels has believed in classifying, analyzing, and delimiting the form of social relationship. When we talk about this social relationship, that means the relationship of one individual with other individuals in their same surrounding or that same environment. So that is the social relationships. For an example, my relationship with my mother, or my relationship with my subordinates at my workplace. So that kind of things we can say a social relationship, when we are trying to interact with each other, when we are connecting with another individual. So that at that time we are formulating this social relationships. So according to Simmels, he has seen the sociology, and he has done the classification, analysis, and delimited the forms of social relationships. So that all the things has been done by this Simmels. According to Simmels, the classification of social relationship, that means they have classified this relationship. For an example, the relationship of individual with their family members, or in family members also the particular family members, or relationship of the individual with their subordinates, with their higher authorities. So that is called as social relationships. So the classification they have done, then they have done the analysis. They have identified that what the exactly is happening in this particular relationship, in this particular one relationship. So that analysis they have done, and also delimits. Delimits in the sense of they have formulated the boundary, that in this limits only they are working. So that is your delimits. The forms of social relationships. So they have done all those three things in the social relationships, different social relationships. So that is the scope of sociology in this formulative, we can say, according to the Simmel's view. Let's see the next one. The next view has been given by Small's view. He is another sociologist. The Smalls studies genetic forms of social relationship, behavior and activities. Genetics, that means what one individual got from their genes, from their parents, in their hereditary. So that genetic kind of things was studied by this Smalls. Of social relationship, behavior and activities. How this one individual is behaving with another individual and how that particular behavior is affecting to another individual. So that is the behavior, the manner in which we behave. So that is, and activities, what type of activities we are doing as a human being with other human beings. So that thing was the genetic form of all those things, how we are doing that, what such kind of things we have in our genes, in what exact manner we are behaving with other individuals. So that all the things, so that is the view of the Smalls. After that, the another sociologist, that is your Verkanden's view. So as per the Verkandens, it is a specialized branch. Some specialized branch we have, branch of knowledge concerned with ultimate forms of psychic relationship, which in link man to man in the society. So based on or as per the idea of this Verkandens, the sociology is a specialized branch. Special, something special is there. Special things we are learning or special things we are studying. So that is, this is how it is a specialized branch of knowledge concerned with ultimate forms of psychic relationship. That means they have focus on the knowledge that how the one individual is connecting with the another individual with the use of their mind, or we can say psychic, that means your mind. So how the one individual is trying to connect with the another individual, how they are identifying each other. So that is the psychic relationship which in link man to man in the society. And this psychic relationship is linking one man with the another man. For an example, I am the one individual. Now I am trying to connecting with you with the help of my this teaching. So that is called as your psychic relationship. Or we are trying to, or we have seen one individual, those who are crying, and seeing them, we are also feeling sad. So that is called as psychic relationship, what we have developed. The emotions or our mind we have used to develop that relationship. So the knowledge which is regarding or which is concerned with all the psychic relationship, that is going to link one man with the another man. So that is the view of the Verkandens. After this Verkanden's view, the another sociologist who is Max Weber's. So as per the Max Weber's, it studies interpretation and understanding of behavior. Interpretation, that means the analysis why particular human beings are exhibiting that particular behavior. So that interpretation they have done, and understanding of that particular behavior, that means the meaning they have given to that particular behavior, why exactly the individuals are doing in such manner or they are behaving in such manner. So that is as per the Max Weber's view. Further, it is concerned with analysis and classification and types of social relationship. So as the Simmels has done, the analysis and classification of social relationships and which type of relationship they are having with another individuals. So that also has been identified by this Max Weber's. So they have analyzed, classified and the types of social relationship, that all the things were studied by this Max Weber's view, that why one or such one man or one individual is behaving in such a manner. If one individual is angry, why? What is the reason behind that? What is the particular reason why we are behaving in such manner? What all the things we are doing? What is our attitude? Why all these things are there? So that cause type of things and the meaning of that particular things, that has been given by this Max Weber's view. So the interpretation and understanding of behavior, that means right now I am teaching that teaching, then meaning of that particular teaching, why this teaching process is taking place, so that meaning they have given. The understanding of my such behavior, that yes, she is teaching to teach give some knowledge to that particular student, so that understanding they have implemented. So that is according to Max Weber's view. The next sociologist, the fifth one, that is your von Weiss's view. Von Weiss view, the sociologist studies all forms of social relationship. According to him, he is going to study all forms of social relationship, whatever social relationship in the sense, as earlier we have discussed, my relationship with my family members, my relationship with my neighbors, my relationship with my colleagues at my job place, my relationship with my subordinates, in some ritual or regional institute also I might have some relationship. So that all the things are called as a social relationship. So based on this von Weiss's view, the sociology is going to study all the form of social relationship, whether it is good, whether it is bad, with different reasons, that specific relationships if we are having, so that all the things are going to studied by this sociology, under this sociology. So that is as per the von Weiss's view. The next sociologist is Tony. So according to Tony's view, he has differentiated the society and the community on the basis of forms of social relationship. That means the Tony has told, or they have differentiated this society. For an example, who is society? The society, as I told you, the individuals are going to come together, they are going to form one group, and that group is living in particular area. So that is called as your society. Same like that, the community, that means a group of people, those who are having some same characteristics and they all are living in a same place or same area. So that is your community. But this Tony has divided, or they have differentiated the society and community. And the society, that means according to him, the society is the urban society, and the community they have told the rural areas, that means the villages, and urban, that means the cities. So this differentiation has been done by this Tony's according to in this scope of sociology. After that, when they have studied this scope of sociology, those different sociologists, they have some criticism, like it has narrowed the scope of sociology, because the specific things we are studying, specific things about the society or sociology, the study of specific things we are doing, so it has some narrow. So the characteristics we can say in this formulative scope of sociology, so that is the narrow, not a wider thing, because we are not learning the whole thing. As a whole we are not learning the society, only one specific things or a part we are learning. So it has narrowed the scope of sociology. Then abstract form is separate from concrete form. That means what they are thinking, what is in that thought process, that is the abstract thing, that is totally different than the actual one, what actually is present over that in that situation. So the concrete is different from the abstract. So that it is. The next is the construction of pure sociology alone does not study social relationship. That means a construction of pure sociology, that means only the human behavior, if particular human behavior only we are going to learn, we cannot develop the study of social relationship. That means in other areas also, how the individuals are behaving, we won't be able to identify that. So these all are the criticisms in this scope of sociology. So that was about your formulative scope of sociology. So this is your formalistic, according to this formalistic, or we can say specialistic. So that is the formal things, formalistic school of sociology. After that, the second one we have, that is the synthesis. So that is the synthetic school. That means we are considering, the sociologists are considering the study of society as a whole part. Not they are dividing that into the small things, but as a whole they are learning this. So in that, Durkheim's view is there, Hobhouse's view is there, Karl Mannheim's view is there, Ginsberg's view is there. So let's see what is their view. What is the view of this different sociologists? So the first one is Durkheim's view. So according to Durkheim's, they have divided it into the another 3 branches. To study the society as a whole, they have divided this in 3 branches. The first one is your social morphology, the another one is your social physiology, and the third one is your general sociology. Let's see this one by one. The first is your social morphology, which is concerned with geographical basis of the life, its relationship to types of social organization, and the problems of population. Social morphology, that means the structure of the society. So according to him, in the social morphology, in the structure of the society, they have concern with geographical basis of the life. That means where the individuals are living, the places where they are living. So that geographical area where the people or the individual or the society member are living. So on that they have concern. Its relationship to types of social organization. Relationship, that means the relationship of this geographical area with the social organization. Social organization, if we talk about, that might be our family. Our family is one social institute, we can say, or any organization in which the group of people are there, those who are working together to attain a same goal. So that is called as your social organization. So the geographical area and how this area is affecting to that particular group of people, and how the relationship, the type of relationship is also affecting to that particular area or the population. So that has said by the Durkheim's view. The next is social physiology. In this social physiology, it is divided into branches like sociology of religion, sociology of morals, sociology of laws, sociology of economic life, sociology of language, etc. So in this social physiology, to study the society, the different area of that particular society, that is your religion, the morals, what we need to do, what according to what is right and what is wrong, what type of things we are doing actually, the laws, sociology of economic life, that means how economically the society is having the strengths and all. So that is the economic life. And the sociology of language, how we are interacting or what type of language we are using to communicate or to interact with each other. So that is the social physiology. They have divided this into sub branches. And the another thing, that is your general sociology. It discovers the social facts. That means what actually things are happening in the society. So that facts, on that facts it is working. So that is your general sociology. So this Durkheim's view has given this scope of sociology, the social morphology, That means social physiology and general sociology. There's all the three things has been given by this, three branches has been given by this Durkheim's view. That means the individual is not, they haven't studied this particular individual or particular things, the specific things they haven't studied. They have taken all the things as a whole. That means the one individual is having any problem or anything in their life, so all the other areas, all the other structures or all the other branches are also affecting for that particular problem, affecting for that particular social problem in their life. So that is according to this Durkheim's view. So all these branches are there which is affecting for that particular problem. Then next is Hobhouse's view. So as per this Hobhouse's, the interactions of social relations and the result, social life as a whole will be studied. That means the social life they have studied as a whole, social life in the sense of the people where they are living in terms of their surrounding environment, so that is the geographical areas, other areas, so that all the things, the whole social life they have studied. Interactions of social relations and the results. For an example, if I am having the good interaction with my one family member, but at the same time if I am not having a good interaction with my neighbor, so some consequences or some results will be there. So that all the things, the social life as a whole they have studied. So that is the Hobhouse views. The next is Karl Mannheim's view. So as per the Karl Mannheim's, sociology is divided into systematic and general sociology, and they have described how the individual will react social changes in a given society. That means if any social change, if any severe social change is coming, then how the individuals are surviving in that situation. For an example, the social change that might be any social social change like empowerment or migration, or any natural calamities like earthquakes. So how the individuals are behaving in that same type of situation. So that has been studied by the Karl Mannheim's view. What is the response of the whole society member or a whole group in some situations or in some circumstances. So that was studied by this Karl Mannheim's view. The another view, that is Ginsberg's view. So as per the Ginsberg's view, it studies the types and forms of social relationship. What type of relationships we have in the society, in our religious factor, in the political view, or in the family. So in all the areas, what type of relationships we have. So that has been studied under this. It determines the relationship between different factor of social life, social change, persistent, and to discover sociological principles governing social life. That means all the things which is happening outside of human beings' life in that surrounding environment, and how this all the things are affecting them. So that is the Ginsberg's view. So as per the synthetic school, all the psychologists has focused that how they have focused not only on the specific things, but they have proved that how the other areas also affecting that all the things. For an example, the one individual will think to commit a suicide, or they will commit a suicide, then what that it doesn't mean that only the psychic things was there, only the mental problem or mental health issues was there in their suicidal attempt, but all the other factors, other social factors, might be the neighbors, might be the family members, the workplace, or the political views, or all the other aspects are responsible for that one social change. So that is according to the synthetic school, all the sociologist has told. That means for all the things what is happening in individual's life, they haven't seen that as a particular thing, but other social factors or other things are also responsible for that thing. So this is about the scope of sociology. After the scope of sociology, let's see the next point, that is our relationship of sociology with other social sciences. Other social sciences, that means the other field. So what the sociology, why the sociology is important for other field as well? What other social sciences are there in which the study of sociology is important? So that is the relationship of our sociology with other social science. Like, let's see, the one field, what is the relation of sociology with nursing? So that is the relationship of sociology with the nursing. Why there is a specific relationship of the sociology in nursing? Why the subject we are learning? So that is the sociology. Why it is important? So as we know, the nurses are having the vital role, or they have the vital functions in the healthcare delivery system. So the nurse is at the center part of the healthcare delivery system, and other factors or other areas are there. The other social relationship the nurses are having, like the superiors the nurses are having, the colleagues they have, the subordinates they have, the medical officers they have, health administrators, peer group. So these all are the individual, those who are working with the nurses, and it is very important for nurses to understand the behavior of all these individuals, because the nurse, all the time nurses has to give a quality care to their patient, and for that reason a good interaction is needed. What the behavior of a particular patient is showing, that she has to understand. So that's why the sociology is important. At the same time, what their superiors wants to say to that particular nurse, so that is also important. So that's why the study of human behavior is important for nurses. What their colleagues view for the particular nurse, so that is also important. At the same time, what nurses has to teach to their subordinates, or how should she behave with their subordinates, so that is also important. So that's why the sociology is important. So that's why this has the relationship with the nursing. Medical officers, specifically when the doctors or the medical officers, when they are communicating with nurses, at that time the point of view of the medical officers, at the same time the point of view of the patients. So that interconnections also should happen. So that's why nurses needs to learn the sociology, so that they can understand exactly what the medical officers or the physicians or doctors are wanting to say, or they are making them to understand. So that's why the study of sociology is important, because as we have learned, we are learning the relationships, we are learning the interaction of one individual with another individual, or how we are behaving in such situations. So that behavior of the different individuals we are learning. So there is a need of this sociology, there is a relation of the sociology with this nursing field as well. Apart from there, the nurses has the role in family, religion, voluntary agency. So these all are the agencies what is taking action in this social functions or social areas. So that is the family members, the religion institution, the voluntary agencies, public or community agencies, political group, civil group, neighborhood, secondary group, and state. So these all are the institutes, those who are working in the area of healthcare. So that all the institutes are required to focus on the care of the patients at the hospital. So from the state level also they are trying to give a good quality care to our patients in healthcare sectors. The family is also needed to understand the behavior of their particular concerned loved one, how they are behaving in particular disease condition, or what is their desire, what is their need. So that's why the religion. So this all are the groups or the institute or organizations which we can say, those all are working in the area of healthcare sectors. So that's why in nursing profession, and this all the healthcare centers has to interact with the nurses as well. So nurses need to understand the behavior of the human beings, behavior of the people, or behavior of the there's all the members of these organizations, how they are behaving, what is their understanding level, what they need to teach them. So that's why in this, the nurses, there is a relationship of sociology with nursing is there. Even the nurses are working as an educator, as a planner, as an organizer, even as a researcher. And in all this area, the study, the sociology is important, because ultimately the nurse is going to connect with the society to give the quality care. And whenever we are the nursing profession, that means we are giving the wholesome care, the holistic care to our patients. And whenever we are talking about the holistic care, the need of the client we are keeping in our mind. So that's why we need to identify the need, that what is the exactly that client needs. What is the desire, and based on their need we have to satisfy, based on their need we have to give them a care so that we can satisfy their need. So that's why to study all these things, the sociology is having a connection with this nursing field. So when we talk about as an educator, that means the nurse can organize an education program, and they can give the education to the patients, their family members in different areas. For an example, tuberculosis prevention, or the dengue prevention, any other disease condition, or family planning methods. So that type of educations they can give to the family members. And for that, it is very important to understand the behavior pattern, that social cultural pattern of that particular human being. So that's why nursing is, the study of sociology is important. Then nurses are going to plan and organize some programs, some seminars, some health education programs. So for all that things, there is a need to identify the need of the society members, whether they are in need of all these things, the burning issues, they have to identify it. They have to go in the field, they have to communicate with the family members, with the society members, they have to take permission from the higher authorities like Gram Panchayat and everywhere. So that's why the nurses are needed to learn this sociology. At the same time, nurses are also doing some research, that what the strategies are actually useful, or what is the things which is leading to the lacking. So for all that things we need the sociology. At the same time, as we know, the nurses are the vital functions they have, or the vital role they have in providing the care. So with all these reasons, we need to learn the sociology. And in healthcare sector, ultimately everything is connected with giving or providing a best quality care to our clients. So to understand what care they need, what is their desire, for that we need the sociology. So this is how this sociology is connected with this nursing. Even when we talk about the patients, when we talk about the individuals and their family members, it is very important for nurses to learn their cultural background, in what culture they are living. So that's why also the knowledge of sociology is important. What is their thinking pattern, that we have to identify before giving any education to them. So that's why the relationship of sociology with nurses is very important. After that, other relationships also in the social sciences we have. So the one social science is your social psychology. It is also a branch of the social science only. So let's compare what exactly the sociology and what is social psychology. What is the relationship between all these two things, or what is the difference? So the first point is, studies the behavior of an individual in society. So social psychology, this branch is going to study the behavior of an individual in the society, how the individuals are behaving in their society with the other peoples, with their surrounding. So that will be learned by, that will be dealt by with this social psychology. At the same time, the sociology is, as we have learned, group behavior can be studied. In sociology, we can study the group behavior. As this individual behavior is also important, the same point At the same point, the group behavior is also important, because in some situations we take decisions with the help of group. So the group behavior can be studied in the sociology. The another thing is, it studies the mental processes of the individual, because it is a branch of psychology, and the psychology is a branch which studies the human behavior, which is dealing with the human behavior, the mind of the individuals. So that's why the mental processes of the individual, what they are thinking, what is the thought process, why they are reacting in this manner. So that will be done by the social psychology. Compared to that, sociology is going to study social processes, social laws or values related to attitudes. What is the attitude the individuals are having, whether it is favorable attitude or the unfavorable attitude, the accepting things are there or not, or non-accepting things are there or not. So to study that, the social processes, social laws or values, that means what is the value, what is the value of this, all the relationships and everything in human beings' life. So that social values and social laws, so that all the things will be studied in this sociology. The another thing is study of individual attitude towards cultural and social values and the laws. So as this psychology is going to study the individual culture, the attitude towards the cultural and social values, that means how one individual is considering the culture of some other individuals. So that attitude, whether it is acceptable or not acceptable, the favorable or non-favorable attitude, so that we can learn with the help of this social psychology. At the same time, the sociology is going to discuss concrete form of society, its structure and functions. What the form of society, concrete form, that means the existence of that particular social institute is there, whether it is family or any other organization. So that concrete form of the society is present, the structure and the function, what functions they are doing and how is the structure of that particular society. So that will be learned under this sociology. The next is, it analyzes the framework of social relationship. Analyzes the framework of social relationship. Social relationships, that means the relationship of one individual with the other family members or the neighbors or any subordinates or superior or whatever. So that relationship, the framework, within which framework they are working. So that relationship will be identified under this social psychology. And in sociology, it studies the interaction of the human being with the environment. That means how the human beings are responding to their environment. So that will be studied under this sociology. So this is how it is similar, or this is how it is, this is how we can differentiate these two things, and they have the relationship with each other. So sociology is having the relationship with the social psychology, which is another social science. The next social science we have, that is economics. So relationship of sociology with this economics. So in economics, study of man's activity devoted in obtaining the material. That means whatever activity mans are doing, that is devoted in some materials, to get some materials. So that is the economy. To get some economy only the mans are doing their activity. So that all the things, about the obtaining some materials, that things will be learned under this economics. So that study will be done under this economics. And in sociology, comprehensive and studies the whole society. So the sociology is the wider aspect that is going to study the whole society, all the areas, not only the economics, but all the areas that sociology is going to study. The another thing is, in economics studies economic relationships and activities in economic point of view only. That means the economic relationships, what is the advantages or what is the disadvantages, what we are getting from the other institution. So that benefits and disadvantages only, the economic relationships only they are going to see. So the economic point of view will be there. And in sociology, studies social relationship from societal point of view. So here the societal point of view, the behavior of individuals, why and how they are behaving in such a manner. Whereas in economics, what is the loss and what is the benefit in that particular situation, what we can lose in that situation or what we can get in that situation. So that type of relationships will be there in the economic, and that will be studied under this economic branch of this. The next is, the unit is the individual with many economic activity. So when we talk about this economic, that unit is the individual. That means only economic things we are dealing in this. To obtain some materials only we are focusing. So that is the individual branch it has, which with many economic activity. Many economic activities in the sense purchasing some goods or selling some things. So that all the economic activities will be involved. At the same time, in sociology, individual behavior in relationship to the group and environment. The behavior of the individual with the group as well as with the surrounding environment. So that will be involved in the sociology. So the sociology is all the things what we have learned earlier. So that is this sociology only. The next is, economics is going to include method of studies are addition, subtraction, induction and deduction. So that all the things we are going to do in the economic, because we need to settle our balances. So additions we have to do, the plus things, minus things, what is our benefit, what we got from all those things, what we have sold. So that all types of things will be there in this economics. At the same time, in this sociology, the interview observation questionnaire can be used, because we need to study the behavior of the individuals, their relationships, the effect of that relationships, the result of the relationship we need to study. So that's why we need we don't need any numerical methods or anything like subtraction or addition, but we need some questions so that we can learn the behavior of the individuals with the by observing or by asking some questions. So that is the techniques. So that is the relationship of this sociology with this economic. Then next we have the another thing, that is relationship of sociology with anthropology. Anthropology, that means the study of the human beings, how they are working. We'll see that. So the first, let's see, in sociology, studies modern communities and social problems and suggest solutions. So in relation with this anthropology, the sociology is going to study modern communities, the new generations, or we can say the modern communities they are going to learn, and social problems and suggest solution. What the problems are there, what the societal problems are there in that particular area. So that will be studied by the sociology in relationship with the anthropology. At the same time, in anthropology, studies ancient communities and the problems existed. That means what the problems were there priorly, the ancient, that means the traditional things, what the things was there in the history. So that type of ancient things which is ongoing from that time to till now. So that type of ancient communities will be studied by this, and the problems which is still existing, started in that ancient time but still existing. So that type of problems will be studied in this anthropology. The next is sociology in relationship with this anthropology is going to study various aspects and problems of society and guides for change. That means in all the aspects, they are going to study the problems of society and they are going to give the suggestion for that particular problem. And in this anthropology, that is going to be studied as a whole. That means whole things we are considering. Here in sociology, we are focusing on a specific problem of the client. But here in anthropology, as a whole, we are considering the whole problem. That means the surrounding factor which affects that particular problem. So that is also we are considering. The next is studies social relationship. Social relationship, as we have discussed, with the neighbors, with the subordinates, with the colleagues, with the family members. So that type of social relationships. There might be the political relationships. So that is all social relationships will be studied in the sociology. And in anthropology, studies anatomical characteristics and its influence upon the behavioral change. Anatomical characteristics, that means how our human body is working with interconnection with other systems of our body. So how that actually the human body is carrying out its own function. So that anatomical characteristics and why it is like that. So that things will be studied under this anthropology. And why? Because how these anatomical things are changing and how the human behavior is also changing simultaneously. So that all the things will be studied in this anthropology. The next is makes suggestions concerning to future. Sociology is going to make some suggestions concerning on the future. To improve the future or to prevent the problems in the future, they are going to make some suggestions. Where anthropology is going to be based on pure understanding and past relationship. What has already occurred, on that basis, the understanding we are going to develop. So that is your anthropology. And the next is, in sociology, we are using this documents and surveys for data collection. And in this, we are using a functional methods. That means the actual functions we are doing, some functional methods we are doing, methods we are implementing. Whereas in this sociology, the documents which already we have, the data which already we have, the surveys which already has been done. So that type of things we are using. So that is the relationship of sociology with this anthropology. The next is relationship of history with the sociology. So in relationship with history, what is this? Studies past and its concrete. History, that means the past thing we are going to learn in our history. So that history is going to learn the past things, and it is concrete. That means it is a concrete, the actual thing what has happened in the past. So that will be studied. Whereas in sociology, it is abstract, deals with present, past and future. Abstract, that means it is present in our thought process, and we are going to think that what actually thing is happening right now, what has already occurred and what we can improve in the future. So that is the sociology. The next is, it presents chronological description of incidents of events and its culture principle. How this particular events has taken place in that same step, one by one, that is going to be listed out, and how this cultural principles, the culture, how this culture, the surrounding factors are involved in that consequences or in that steps or in that incidents. So that will be studied. Wherein sociology studies the human experiences and human nature. So that is going to study the human experiences, what actually the human has faced and what is the nature of human. So that will be. Then next is, the history studies those incidents which are peculiar or unusual. Peculiar or unusual, that means it is not a general thing that every time it is happening. So that type of things will be learned in the history. Whereas in sociology, those incidents which are frequently repeated, that means unusual in the sense of, in history sometimes it happens, very occasionally that is happening. So that type of some peculiar things, the opportunistic things which happens only a few times or sometimes. So that type of peculiar or unusual things will be studied in this history. As Whereas in this sociology, very frequently and repeated things, that means the thing which is happening again and again, that will be studied by this sociology. Then the next is describes incidents taking place at definite place and time. So the history, that means what the thing or what the event has already occurred in our past, at what time. So that definite thing, the exact history of exact place and exact time we have, that yes, this incident has occurred at this time in this place. So that is the definite thing we have in our history. Whereas in sociology, it is going to study or discover universal laws. Studies to discover universal laws. That means what is the thing which is applicable everywhere. So that type universal laws will be studied in this sociology. So that is the relationship of sociology with this history. The next is relationship of sociology with this political sociology. So this political sociology is again one branch of social science. So sociology, as we know, science of society, we are going to study about the society, whereas this political sociology, that means politics, it is connected or it is related to with the politics, that means the government, the political society, its structure and processes, government of political society, how this one political society is working, what are the rules and regulations of that particular society, what structure it is possessing, what processes, what things they are carried out. So that type of things will be related to this, will be involved in this political sociology. Then the next is studies social point of view. Social point of view, that means the point of view of all the society members. What is that social point of view? So that, whereas in political sociology, studies attitude of authority, policy formulation and execution. That means attitude of authority. What authorities are there in that political organization? So that authorities' attitude, that is going to study. Policy formulation, that means what type of policy they have formulated to implement, and the execution of that policy, what they have formulated, how that is affecting to human behaviors. So that is, so all those things, in that all the things they are going to check the point of view of the society. So that's why there is a relationship of this political sociology with the sociology. The next is studies both organized and disorganized communities. Organized and disorganized communities in the sense of the communities which are well organized or the properly structured, whereas disorganized, that means there is no specific organization of any community, the scattered things are there. Whereas in political sociology, studies purely organized community. So this is going to study both the things, the organized and disorganized, because the general behavior or a point of view they are studying. But here in political sociology, properly organized community, that means one particular organization, political organization, so their behavior they are going to learn, they are going to study. So that is the political sociology. The next is studies all kind of social relationships and forms of society. All kind of social relationships and forms of society. Whereas in political sociology, studies all form of societies and its laws, economy and higher powers. So in sociology, we are going to learn about the social relationships and forms of society, which type of societies we have and what is the relationships we have in that. Whereas in this political sociology, it is going to study all form of societies and its laws, on what laws they are working, what is laws, on what legislative thing the society is running, so that the economy of that particular society, at the same time higher powers, who is at the higher authority in that society, whether it is the state government, district government, so that higher authorities or higher powers will be studied. then economy of that particular society, that all the things will be studied under this. So that is the relationship of the political sociology with the sociology. The next is, and last relationship, that is your relationship of sociology with the biology. So biology, that means to understand organization, how all the biological things are organized, so that we are understanding. Whereas in sociology, the knowledge of the efforts of hereditary and environment upon man studies. Biology, that means inside our body, the human body, the structure of the human body, how that is doing its own functions. So that all the studies or that all the things will be understood by this biology. But where in this sociology, the hereditary efforts, what we got in our hereditary, what we are getting from our environment, and how we are working based on all that things, how that all the things are affecting us, so that all the things will be studied in this sociology. Biology describes anatomical development, sexual personality peculiarities, and formulates principles for the adjustment to the environment. The anatomical development, that means the development of all the body systems, all the organs. So that anatomical development, the sexual personal peculiarities, that means the sexual characteristics, and the formulates principles for the adjustment to the environment. That means how this biological human body is adjusting with this environment. So that all the studies will be done in this area of biology. Whereas in sociology, as we have seen, the environment, how that is affecting our body, the hereditary factors, how that is affecting us, the individual, so that all the things will be learned in your sociology. So this is all about the relationship of sociology with other social sciences. After that, the another topic we have, that is use of sociology for nurses. Why there is a need of this sociology in nursing? So as we have already learned in previous things also, the relationship of this sociology in nursing field. So based on that also we can write this, or we can say the importance of sociology for nurses. So that it is. Let's see the importance of sociology in our nursing profession, or the uses of sociology in our nursing profession. How we are going to implement this sociology in the nursing field. So the first is that is going to help the nurse for the scientific study of society. So as we have seen in our introduction, the sociology, that means the study of society we are going to do. All the things about the society, what is their behavior, how they are behaving in such a manner, what is the relationship, what is their interaction with other members, how they are connecting with each other. So that all the things we are learning in this sociology. So sociology is going to help the nurse to study all those things, the relationship of the individuals with another individuals. So that's why it is important. The next is sociology helps to study the role of the institutions in the individual development. Role of the institutions, that means the role of the political institution, role of the religious institution, role of the family. Family is also one institution. So how this institution is affecting in the individual development, how these all the things, with the help of all these things, the development is there in us, in individual. We are becoming mature, we are learning something new. So that all the things, the role of all this institution, we are growing up in our families, after that we are growing up in our religious organizations, then we are shifting to our social organizations like this political things. So all these things are contributing in this individual development. Then sociology is inseparable for understanding and planning of society and the need of society. So as we have seen, as a nurses, we have to satisfy the need of our client. That means the satisfaction of the need of the patients or the human beings, those who are in need or those who are in need of the care. So which type of need or which type of things or which type of demands they are having, so that we can understand from the sociology. The next point is, sociology is important in framing and analyzing the various solutions of social problems. Social problems like it might be the robbery, it might be the empowerment things, it might be the unemployment, it might be the racism. So there's all discrimination of races, so that racism, so that all the things. So this all are the social problems what we are facing in our society. So that will help us to analyze all these various problems, what type of problems are there in that specific area. For an example, racist discrimination, racism is that, so we can identify from that human behaviors in that particular society that this area is having this type of particular society, and we can plan and we can organize awareness program about this racism, discrimination. So that is why this sociology is important to identify this type of social problems as well as to give solutions to this type of problem by knowing the human behavior, how they are going to react to our solutions, so that we can identify earlier, and based on that, based on their belief, based on their thinking pattern, identifying their culture and everything, we are going to give them a solutions for that particular situations. So that it also helps to draw our attention to the basic human needs. Basic human needs, that means the shelter, the food, the water, so that all the basic human needs. So it will help, the study of the society will help us to focus on that basic human needs if they are not getting, and then we can do something for them. Some social changes we can bring with the help of government. So that's why the study of sociology is important. The need, that means all the needs of the society what the government is fulfilling of the particular area or particular society members or the communities, whether it is the urban area or rural area. So that it is. The next is, sociology has changed outlook with regard to the problems of crime. That means this is going to be helpful for us to identify the criminal situations, the crime events, and what type of solutions we can give to that crime situation. So the sociology, the study of sociology has only brought this law and legislative actions for these all types of crime, so that we can regulate the behavior of the human beings. So that's why the sociology, the study of society is important. It has made significant contribution to enrich human culture and values. That means we can give our contribution to understand this culture and values of the society members, and in what area or in what cultures or in what things we have the specific crime or criminal things at that time, we can in that particular area we can bring some changes. So for that reason also this sociology is important. The next is, sociology is of vital in the process of solving the international problems of different society. International problem of different society, that means the interrelationship of one country with the other country. So for that's why also this sociology is important, because with the help of this sociology we are interacting, our country is interacting with the other countries. So as we have seen the interaction and interrelationships, that means among the countries, between the countries, that type of interactions also will be there. So for that's why the international problems we can solve it out with the discussion, with identifying the point of view of other opposite party as well. So that's why this sociology is important. The next is, sociology is very useful as a teaching subject. Sociology is practiced as a profession. As a teaching subject, that means now after the sociology subject, when that has found all the field has started implementing this subject in their curriculum, because it is very important to learn the human behavior so that we can work effectively in our field. So nowadays this sociology is one of the teaching subject, and in our field also, in our nursing also, we are learning this sociology subject so that we can help out to our society members. At the same time, it is a practiced as a profession. It can be developed as a profession. The sociology can be as a one separate subject. So that's why it is also important. Then next is sociology is also included in the curriculum of nursing because health is integral social component. Most of the illness has a social cause and social effect also. So as we know, where the individual, where we are living, the human beings where we are living, there are so many social changes are there, whether it is pollution, whether it is noise pollution, the crowdiness, and all the issues are there. The poverty and all these things can lead to some various disease condition or some health issues like malnutrition and all the things. So that's why this sociology is very important to include in the nursing curriculum, so that we can bring some social changes in our society. We can make them aware about all this type of things. We can give them some educations, and for all that things, to understand the nature of the human being's biology. As we have seen, the relationship of biology and sociology is also very important, and that also has some relations. So to identify that how all the social factors are affecting the individual's health. So for that reason also we need to learn this sociology, so we can prevent that, and after knowing that particular issues, we can take the steps as soon as possible. The next is sociology gives basic knowledge to deal with patient and to understand those habits, norms, culture and values. So with the help of sociology, we can give some basic knowledge, we can get some basic knowledge that how to deal with the patient, because we know their culture, we know their interaction patient, we know their interrelationship with other family members, we have already studied the relationships of that particular problems with other areas or other institutions like their family members or their workplace or whatever, the political areas, all the things we have already studied, and with the help of that we can understand their habits, their norms, their culture, what exactly things they think, what are all the things they are following, what is the values for them. So all the things we can understand. So that's why also the sociology is important. The next point is, it is important for the nurse to understand the importance of changing the environment or surrounding. So as we are nurse, we also need to take care that all the time the surrounding environment or the surrounding situations of our patients or the individuals are not going to be, they are not a constant one. With the time, that is going to be changed. So that changing things also we need to identify. So for that also the sociology is important. The next, sociology also helps the nurses to provide the need-based individualistic care as listed in the nursing code of ethics. That means with the help of sociology, we can identify that all the individuals are having the separate needs, and when we are going to give care to that individual, based on their needs only, need-based care we are going to provide, as it is also described in our code of ethics. So the need-based care we have to provide. The code of ethics you might have learned in your fundamental of nursing. So based on that, the need-based care we have to give to our patients. So to identify that particular need also, we need to learn this sociology in our nursing field. The next point is, it helps the nurse to approach the patient at various domains So when we are dealing with the patient in our healthcare sectors or in the society, at that time different domains we have in which we have to work. For an example, this first one is your emotional domain. So we have to give emotional support to patient. So that's why there is a need to identify that what type of emotions our patient or that particular individual is holding. So that is going to help us to show some sympathy or some empathy to that particular patients, and we will understand that patient in a better sense, and that will allow us to give them a best care. So the emotional domains, when the patients are need in this emotional support, that we have to identify, and we have to give them emotional support when they are in a very sad or anxious state or worried state. Then the cultural domain, that means the cultural domain, the cultural or religious belief, the traditions in what the individuals are living. So that also we need to identify, and based on that we are going to advise them. Based on that we are going to provide some care, and we are going to conduct some awareness program for them. So the cultural domains are also very important. The next is your intellectual domain. Intellectual domain in the sense of for our patients we need to organize some rehabilitative things, some vocational things also we can organize for them, some occupational activities we have to plan for our patients. So that all the things, the intellectual domain we have to keep in our mind, so that by identifying their by identifying their cognitive functions, or by identifying their thinking pattern and their intelligence level, we can advise them this type of activities to delimit their inability to do any activities or handicapness. So that is your intellectual domain. So there's various domains also. It will help us to learn or to understand with the help of this sociology. So with all this reason, it is very important to learn the sociology, because ultimately in sociology we are understanding the behavior of the human being, the reason behind that particular behavior, and how that other factors which are present in the surrounding or geographical area of that particular individual is affecting to that particular individual. So that we are learning, and in our nursing field it is very important to learn all that things to get to make our patient to give a good or quick healing process. We need to control all these surrounding areas. We need to learn all these areas which affects the most to our patient, and that's why it is very important to learn this sociology. So in today's session we have learned the introduction of sociology. What is exactly the sociology? Just we have discussed the definitions, the scope of sociology, and also the uses and relationship with other social sciences. So that's it about today's topic. Thank you.